both Twitch and YouTube, and then we can go from there. And I should be in the right category now. Says I'm live on both. Don't know if that's true, but I have the chat on in case someone says anything. So, yeah. Okay, so this is. I wasn't expecting a lot of people to show up to chat anyway, which doesn't look like anyone's talking at least, but I have two people watching on Twitch, so hello. So today we're just going to kind of talk about. So, for example, or we're going to talk about what I have created. I created something called IT Pathways on both on LinkedIn and Discord. I could go ahead and post what I have access to later on for both. So for this, what IT Pathways is, it's essentially going to be what my channel is going to be about, but just for the networking side, so people could start to network with each other. It's just where people could go find other people who are pursuing IT careers or marketing careers, because I feel like marketing is becoming more of a technical role. There's a lot of actually marketing skills that are needed that are the same in IT. For example, if you have even baseline JavaScript skills, and I'd say even Python skills for automation, it makes marketing so much easier. So that's why I kind of lumped that together. And it's something that I will be teaching my wife later on. So hopefully I could get her perspective from it as well, and testimonials from her using that. So, but that's essentially what IT Pathways is about. Just learning different IT skills, getting sources, and then people always want career growth, but a lot of people, they'll get stuck at one company for 10, 13, 5, 7 years, and they'll maybe go up. Let's say you start out at a help desk at a certain position, and even if you go and you cross train at other departments, and you get all these specific skills, you'll never find a specialty niche that they'll let you into. But instead, what they'll do is maybe in 2 years, they'll raise you from like entry level help desk to level two, or like a level one to a level two. And then they'll say, hey, there's a more of a senior position that'll be like a level three. And then you could get that in like, say, three more years. So then they have you at 5 years in one sort of position. You've probably made, I don't know, let's just say hypothetically, you'll get, for in those 5 years altogether, you'll go up to extra 5 to 10 or 12,000, right? So that's how much you get up. Like at the most, you're going to be going up like 12,000 at the very most, and that's very rare. I from a lot of like the testimonies I've heard from other people. So with that in mind, going through and staying with one company, it's admirable, but unless you work for a large company where they have a lot of opportunity for growth, you're not going to have it be useful to you. So that's just it. But you can, not to say you can't stick in one company. It's going to be a lot tougher, but you want to leverage whatever you can to grow within that company. An example, if you work at a Fortune 500, either at a telecommunications company, or if you work at a any sort of technology mogul type of company. I know even like provider company, like any sort of service provider company, as well as like even some uh, I'd say like a service company, for example, uh, audit audit service provider company, and you start out entry level there. I know Accenture. I'm probably spelling that terribly or pronouncing it terribly. Accenture. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. But so they're a service provider company. I know they just recently had a thing where they gave all their employees access to free cloud training and certification training. So anytime your company offers something like this, you want to take it so you could prove to them that you're, using the resources they have because they want to know that their training programs work. So you want to like go through, take these these courses, but then to prove they work, if they do offer these, then they'd be more likely to move you up and give you a pathway, so that like the training directors, um, so that they could prove, hey, the system I put in place works. Here's what they're doing with it. So once you start going down that and you start utilizing those training programs, you actually do want to network within your company with those training managers, the people who are putting these pathways in place, because they're going to be the ones to help get you in contact with the right people to kind of be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you try shadowing for this position? Shadow there for on and off for maybe a month or so. Then all of a sudden, oh, look, they have a junior position that just happened to open up. Why don't you go here? And just different things such as that. But that's if you're going to be going with an internal growth. Other than that, you still want to utilize those resources and apply internally, because it's always best to stay within a company, but don't limit yourself. But we talk about that and more in IT Pathways. The main objective is just to make sure you're aware of what you need to grow. As far as like what training you need, what lab experience do you need to grow within the IT field, and that's just kind of my soapbox for what IT Pathways is. I'll post links to the LinkedIn. I mean, it's right here, but I'll post a link to the LinkedIn in both YouTube and Twitch chat after this, as well as the Discord link. But what are we going to talk about first? I know this is a big one, especially if you have any major cell phone service provider. I know it affected Verizon. I'm pretty sure it affected Sprint / T-Mobile. I don't know if it affected AT&T, but there was a lot of service providers and a lot of companies who had outage issues thanks to the AWS outage. So that's something we could talk about, just what kind of happened. I mean, there's not much to discuss, just that there was a major outage. I mean, you could even see here, according to this Adobe post, there was a huge Amazon Web Services outage the other day, and that's what was causing a major data issue. It was actually it related to the CloudWatch APIs, which if you go and get any IT certification, they'll talk about that. Next, so the past 2 weeks and coming up this next week, Amazon is hosting their huge Amazon Web Service their convention, but they're doing it digitally or virtually. So if you haven't signed up for it, even if you're just coming in on this last week, I do suggest you go and sign up. It's called reInvent. I'm pretty sure you could still sign up for this. It's still going on. It's 3 weeks. It'll be going on up until the until tomorrow, or December 18th. So it's the next week starts tomorrow, but up until Friday. I think it's really fun. There's a lot of cool things they're doing. For example, if you go on there, you could still probably apply and get a free AWS reInvent hoodie. So that's interesting. I know I'm still waiting on mine. That was cool. It makes it they're trying their best to make it feel like it's an in-person event, even though it's all virtual. They have a bunch of live things going on. They have like games you could play. Not really like Cisco has like their capture the flag events for like pen testers, but it's still fun. Fun convention. They have a lot of announcements. One of their announcements, as I had pulled up here, Amazon wants to train 29 million. I think it's by 2025, 2026. By 2025, they want 29 million people worldwide to be retrained for cloud computing roles. As the pandemic is rising up, they want to make sure that no one's going to be in a position where they can't work. So they're working with a lot of companies to make sure that there are people trained. Look, news article right here, how Accenture found that 33 million Americans could double their income by gaining cloud jobs. And that was one of the things that Accenture actually partnered with a cloud guru, one of the better cloud education platforms. So that's something amazing that was going on. Speaking of a cloud guru, that goes on to our next topic, which this was actually posted a while ago. They were actually selected as a Microsoft training partner. They have gotten enough people certified on their AZ900, and they have a bunch of other Azure certification exams that they certify people on. Most like they, even if you don't want to be in like the architect branch, they have it for like the administration branch. There's a lot of different pathways they have. So whether you want to stick to and they have it for all three cloud platforms. So whether it be you're interested in Amazon, you're interested in Microsoft, you're interested in Google, they have training on all three of those major platforms. Not as much for like Alibaba or Snowflake yet, but I'm sure Snowflake, they are in the works of getting something developed, and they did just purchase. It wasn't like this year, but like last year around this time, they had a merger and purchased Linux Academy. So they have a bunch of training on security and Linux as well. So that's definitely something to look into, and I think they actually just extended their Black Friday deal. So it's $100 cheaper than it would have been if you would normally get it for their training. But that's not the free training I was talking about when I first announced this video. So there is free training out there for different certifications. Specifically, if you weren't interested in necessarily cloud, but maybe networking, there are. Cisco is the standard. Almost everyone requires you to have a Cisco certification, starting with the CCNA. That's going to help nail a job for you right away. Net Plus is fine to start out with, but it's not really going to get you like the better knock sort of positions. It's going to get you really entry level sort of position. Usually at smaller companies, if you want to get into a Fortune 500 company in a knock, sometimes even at entry level, but more so at the senior or mid-tier level, you want to start out and get that CCNA. But it's expensive to get a CCNA, especially if you're not at a company who's going to help pay for it. There is a different provider out there, Juniper. So they actually just announced recently that they have free training and free certification um, vouchers that they've been giving out. And I don't know if it's still free, but at least here it shows discounted vouchers, so a lot cheaper than CCNA. This is their JNCIA Junos exam. This is essentially the same equivalent to a CCNA. So they get free training through the Juniper link. If you just, for this, I just literally did a Google search for Juniper free certification training, and it's their learningportal.juniper.com. And they have their free GNCIA Junos exam. And then if you do have Cisco training already, they also have, if your prior knowledge to Cisco, they have a different learning path just for you. And then from once you get your associate level exam from them, they have different pathways you could get into, and it's going to be before earlier on in the year, all of these were free. Every certification they had was free, so you did miss out on that. However, you could still get some pretty amazing free certification training from them, which a lot of companies aren't going to do, except if you want to get into the security field. So Splunk is an SIEM company. So if you're ever wanting to get into a security field, one thing I'm going to talk about later on in a video is going to be how you want to get into a security associate level training, like an associate level job or analyst job. And essentially what you would do in a security analyst position is you're going to be just looking at the data. You're not going to be really trying to plug stuff in, and you're mainly going to be seeing it's reactive a majority of the time. So you're going to see where you're getting these leaks into the system, and you're going to be telling, like going through your knowledge base, seeing what the most updated version of that client or server is supposed to be, then sending a ping to whoever's in charge of that client or server and telling them how to plug it and fix their leak. That's essentially what your goal is going to be. And then, seeing any potential threats and finding ways to block those threats. A major tool for analyzing all this data coming in that everyone is using is Splunk. It's a stream monitoring system, a data stream monitoring system. It's one of the bigger ones that a lot of companies are using. I know there's a lot of major telecommunication providers that are using them as well for their networks. But they have different certification paths. There's Splunk for users, Splunk for administrators, Splunk for cloud customers. So usually you're going to want to start out with this one. It's called Splunk Core Certified User. It's their base level certification track. Then there's the power users. Then there's the advanced power users, admin, so on and so forth. But just from an entry level security analyst position, you want to start off with the Splunk certified user and then go on to the power user. The good news is the only training you need for Splunk Core certified users is the Splunk Core certified user training, and then the fundamentals one. The fundamentals one is actually the main training. This you could get for free. You get 30 if you want to do instructor led, you could do that. But I just suggest the e-learning. You can kind of do it at your own pace whenever you want. You're not stuck to a certain timeline. From here, you just register, put in your particular information that you have, and the training is free. There's nothing there that's going to require you anything, like no fees or anything like that. You get 4 hours as the total training in general, and you're going to be able, with their training. Their training is actually really good. I'm not really a fan of like company created training because usually it's so expensive, but this is free. There for an associate level exam, even like if you're talking about Microsoft or Azure, a lot of companies, unlike Juniper and Splunk, they don't offer free training, but these two companies do. It's definitely something to look into. So if you want to go the networking route, go to Splunk, go to Juniper Networks, and go to the Junos Genius is the name of their platform. Go there, get your free training for their associate level exam. If you are more of a fan of the security route and pathway, go to Splunk. Go look up their Core Certified User exam. If you just do Google search for Splunk Core Certified User, get the free training. It's 4 hours. What's that honestly going to hurt you? It's not. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about as far as different free certification training that's available. God, I hope I'm still live. Okay, I am. Aside from that, whenever you're the one thing that always bugged me, because if you go to a lot of different companies, whether it be in the public sector, the private sector, or the government sector, you're usually going to get a question saying, what's your desired career salary range between what and what? Then they'll want a specific number. I've always had issues with this because I never knew what to select. So the tip of the day is go to glassdoor.com. To sign up, it's going to ask you, what's your previous information for your previous job role? It's anonymous, so it's not like anyone's going to track you. You give your honest opinion about that company. I got to turn this thing off. You gave your honest opinion about that company. How did you feel the environment was? How did you feel the pay was? How did you feel anything you can about that company? And that's going to help other people who apply to that company later on, but it's not going to harm you. They'll ask you about how you felt about the CEO. Did you even have an opinion about them? And just answer the questions as honestly as you can, and then you get free access to Glassdoor. And from there, you could find out about other companies. But go on here and look at like the different job postings. So, for example, let's say we want to go with here. We'll do this. We'll do HSN because that was something that just came up. We'll look up HSN in Tampa. Doesn't matter. Location doesn't matter. If you type in a company, it's going to know what company you're usually looking for. So we're going to look up salaries because that's the main topic of this discussion. So from here, we're just going to be like, okay, what's the role? Manager. We're going to just type in manager, find salaries within HSN. So product manager, project manager, sales manager. So let's say we were working as a project manager for HSN. So it tells you what the salary is, more or less. And then on the previous page, as you saw, it actually says, actually, let's go back. Manager again. It didn't have a large list. That's why I'm not being specific. So project manager, about 61,000 to 66,000. So that basically is saying what the lowest pay someone recorded was to what their highest pay recorded was. So that's not big of a gap. So usually for this, if you were applying as a project manager for this company, it would be safe to say that you could put 63 or 64, and that would be about the average of what they're willing to pay for that sort of position. And you can put more, but going to a site like Glassdoor and looking at what a company's average is will give you a better idea of what that company is willing to pay for your knowledge and in this certain role. So that's kind of the tip of today. Use different free resources like this to go and search for what you should be asking for. at the interview process. Because you don't want to undersell yourself. They might think, "Oh man, we could really get away with giving this guy nothing," and they'll say, "Oh, you have a lot of opportunity for growth," but that just means you undersold yourself. That's essentially what they're telling you. Um, and usually HR is going to be really nice. Like they don't want to undersell you too much, but you still want to make sure you're getting whatever the best opportunity you could be getting from this. Because you don't want to work at a company for 5 years and you're missing out at, say, $25,000 worth of advances you could have been having if you just asked for the right amount in the first place. But yeah, that's the tip of the day. Go to Glassdoor, sign up, and use that when you're searching for jobs. Other than that, go get free certification training. Stay up to date on cloud news, and any sort of tech news. I know a lot of people are wondering because Cisco, for example, not Cisco.com, Cisco. So they've been having a lot of layoffs. So that's something where people are just worried about. Is like, is there still a future? If you're worried about that, you don't need to be. There's always going to be jobs. Cisco's still the standard for networking equipment. So if you're worried about that, you don't need to be. But always stay. It's never hurts to stay up to date on the news articles when it comes to these companies, especially if you're investing your time into learning their training paths. Aside from that, for the peoples who did show up today, I appreciate it. This is going to be going live to my YouTube channel here shortly, and we'll have it posted on there. And we're going to have a new video next Friday where we talk about the Solutions Architect Associate exam and how to get that. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you out there next time.